okay? All y'all in the nuclear plant, new folks up in the nuclear plant, and all this other type of stuff, y'all got a big project. It's an important project for our economy, the state, our company, all the whole 9 yards, contractors up there working it and all this. Well, let me just explain something to you. If it weren't for the transmission lines and the substation coming out of it, it ain't nothing but a big hole in the ground blowing water. So when you go up there, So when you go there and you take your fancy tour and you're riding around the bus and slogging around in the mud, just know you better look at those switch yards, look at those transmission lines, and think about me. Alright, y'all came here to talk a little bit about energy, so we're going to kind of do that a little bit. We're going to talk about some other energy besides wind, and I know Mr. Marsh gave y'all a breakdown of our capacity mix and all that type of stuff and what we do, but let's go in and let's at least let me do a little bit of what people tell me to do, which I rarely do, but let's talk about energy so y'all can check that off on the list. Go ahead. First of all, we do a lot of demand-side management. It's not just what you generate, but how you educate customers in being good stewards of the energy that you provide them. And that's an important thing that we do with demand-side management. We're required by the Office of Regulatory Staff and the Public Service Commission as part of the nuclear construction that we have to perform demand-side management activities to balance our generation portfolio to what our customers' needs are. So we've set up a demand-side management program. We have an energy-wise savings store where people can go online and buy light bulbs. Buy light bulbs, efficient LED light bulbs, change out light bulbs in their homes. We have our home energy checkup where we actually go behind the meter to engage with our customer, and that's important. Anytime you change your energy mix, be it renewables, be it energy efficiency, you got to remember one thing that the utility has the advantage of, that personal contact and relationship that we have with each one of our customers, okay? 1,200 of those customers called in here this morning to say, my lights are out, come get my lights back on so I can take a shower, so I can see what's going on, so I can get to work. We have that personal relationship as a utility, and you've got to maintain that personal relationship as you go forward. So we go behind the door, behind the meter, in their home. We go and check the duct work and all the simple things that you can do, crawl space in your, going up in the attic, under your home, caulking up your windows and your doors and things of that nature, and educate them on how to set that thermostat, which is so very important. Heating and cooling equipment, give you a rebate for your SEER rating. Also go in and make sure that if you redo your duct work, because so many people lose so much energy through their duct work, that we help them, assist them in order to do that. Our home energy report, we go in there and we say, hey, what square footage house do you live in? I'm not really asking that, I'm just pointing at you. But we go through, what square footage do you have in your home? And then we get a comparable person who has that same square footage with the same appliances, and we let you know about what your bill ought to be if you go to this standard. So give you a peer-to-peer comparison to somebody that lives in a similar situation. And then our neighborhood energy efficiency program, I'm very proud of, because we go into work with the elderly and low-income people in the state of South Carolina within our service territory to educate them, and we basically do a community blitz within those neighborhoods along these same lines. In addition to that, well, y'all talked about nuclear, y'all talked about wind, let's talk about solar, okay? And here you see some of the renewables that SCNG has in its portfolio, okay? Capstone is down there in Charleston, the paper mill. We've got to deal with them where we go and burn what's called black liquor, which is a byproduct of their paper plant, in a boiler. You know the key to that? When Boeing came here to relocate, they said, look, we want to have 100% renewable power at our facility. Why? Because we want to be able to compete on a global basis with Airbus, who is competing with us to sell these airplanes, okay? And it was so important in the European market, so we said, okay, here's a renewable. We'll give you these 55 megawatts. In addition, if you look there in the middle, that's the Boeing Aircraft Assembly Facility. We'll put this photovoltaic laminate on top of your roof, and you can claim that you have 100% renewable power, and that gives them an excellent advantage in the marketplace, okay? We talked about the wind research. Ms. Colbert-Bush talked about that. I told her over there, I said, you're a lot smarter than your brother, but you ain't near as funny. But anyway, then we have, of course, our hydro plants that we consider as a renewable as well, okay? So renewables are a big part of what we do. You can also, for those of you that are down around in Charleston, you'll see some of it, but an important thing that you need to understand, when you're in the energy business, you've got to be collaborative. And, always, one of the things I think we all ought to watch sometimes is Disney's The Fox and the Hound, because, they grew up together. And if somebody hadn't told them one was supposed to hunt the other one, they were supposed to be enemies, they'd probably all work together. And I think we're like that sometimes in our business with what we do. Act 236 was where we had the environmental folks, the solar installers on a large scale and a small scale, all the utilities and the electric cooperatives in South Carolina come together and say, we're going to promote renewables in the state of South Carolina. And through that collaboration and through that working together, it passed the House and the Senate in South Carolina unanimously. Very few bills do. Very few bills do. And so it set us on a path forward for what we're going to do from a renewable standpoint. Now, here's what we do at SCNG, which we think is important. Remember I told you customer relation, being involved with the customer? Well, what we decided to do within our programs is ours is PBI, performance-based incentive. Okay, so we can track what that customer is doing. So we don't just come out here and say, here's a rebate, go install solar, and we don't care whether it runs or not, or we don't care if you maintain it or anything along those lines. Our incentive sticks with the customer and is performance-based. You generate, we pay you an incentive, okay, as it goes forward. Okay, that gives some meat to our involvement, and we got a stake in what these customers do from a renewable standpoint. And so that's kind of from the residential. I'm not going to bore you with all the details of it, but anyway, just understand that.